Call this meeting to order. Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority regular board meeting of November 18th, 2022. The board did meet in executive session. No votes were taken. We did get some updates on the water reliability plan and some other projects. So Deb, let's have the roll call.
Sure. Ms. McCormick Barron.
Here.
Ms. Costello.
Here.
Mr. Domock.
Here.
Ms. Leber.
Here.
Dr. Morel.
Here.
Chair Shuley.
Here.
Erica Strasburger. Here. All board members are present.
Terrific. Do we have any speakers this morning? Public comment?
Is he on? Okay, yes, Mr. Michael Murphy.
Mr. Murphy, you're on.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks very much. Yeah, my name is Michael Murphy. I'm at 142 Maple Heights Road, which is in the Squirrel Hill neighborhood. I've been there since 2007. And in 2016, there was a water main break, jumping right into it. And I witnessed the water break. There was water coming up from under the cracks of all parts of the road, and it was on the upper part of the road. And just some background, it is a private road. So it just kind of accesses the front of a couple of houses, and it is a driveway access road for me for my driveway. So kind of is about as wide as an alley, maybe a little bit wider, but it's not a very wide road. But in 2016, there was a water break, which I witnessed, and it was at the top of the hill. So of course the water all comes running down, right? So it was coming up from under every crack that you could imagine. There was a lot of water. And then it kind of came out at the end of the road where it hits Maple Heights Road that comes up from Fifth Avenue. And so as I watched all this, the water company came out. Everybody was very respectful and everything. But I went out and I said, hey, obviously there's some damage to the road here. Are you going to fix this? He goes, yeah, we're going to fix the entire road. And, I asked somebody who's in charge, and they kind of directed me to a person. So I apologize. I don't have that person's name, but I was under the impression that they were the foreman there or the super somehow. So they did, you guys did come out and you fixed where it broke at the actual spot that it broke. You also fixed at the very bottom of the road, another patch of it where, kind of connected where the road where, again, most of that water was coming out. But there was no damage to the road prior to this. Of course, I don't have pictures of the road prior to this. But I have had, several phone calls in and stuff like that for somebody to check it out. I couldn't get a response, but finally, working with, I think it was Marie there, she got me some answers, and somebody just came back and said, no, it's not due to water. But I know from living there and seeing the results of the road that it was pretty clear that it was from this water damage. The road's breaking up in all places, especially where a big chunk of the water was shooting out, which was not on my property. It was actually on the neighbor across, and it's a pretty bad and busted up part of the road there. My area isn't as bad as hers, but technically we own from the road out. But from my side, I think it's very unfair for the water company to just give a flat response, no, and it be on the owners of the home when we know that it was from the water that broke this up. And again, I'm just trying to get this resolved in some capacity, even knowing that the road was so old, to say you're not responsible for, part of it or something, just to me isn't fair, which is why I'm here today. I have supplied in the email to when I, pictures of the road and how it's busted up and stuff like that. So I don't know if you have any questions for me or what you would need from my side, but I'm happy to support whatever I can do here.
All right, thank you, Mr. Murphy. We'll have staff respond to your concern, your claim or your complaint. Thank you. Let's move to the approval of the meeting minutes of October 28th, 2022. May I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Is
there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes of October 28, 2022, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the minutes are approved. Let's move to reports and updates. We'll start with the Finance Department. New look, Mr. Barca.
As Will said, rolling back the clock. Good morning, PWSA Board of Directors. Included in your board packet is the finance report through through September 2022. Within the report, you will see year-to-date receipts are up 6.7%, or approximately $10.1 million. This revenue growth is a continuation of what PWSA has experienced so far throughout this year. That revenue growth is led by water collections, which are up 5%, or approximately $4.4 million year-to-date. Compared to this point in the prior year, direct operating expenses, which are departmental expenses, are up 3.3%, or approximately $3.3 million, and debt service up 9.7%, approximately $6.1 million. These increases are driven by growth throughout the organization, which was planned for in our 2022 operating budget. PWSA's cash balance remains near an all-time high, with the finance department forecasting a $13.1 million cash basis year-end 2022 surplus compared to the $5.2 million surplus within the 2022 operating budget. I will point out that this strong performance will allow PWSA to maintain its financial metrics that are comparable with other pure utilities, with the goal to exceed those metrics in the future. So while we're having a great year, it's really helping us maintain where we need to be overall at PWSA. We'll also note that I'll be bringing the 2023 operating budget to the board for approval in December. There is a finance board committee meeting and an education session scheduled later this month that will review the proposed operating budget prior to the requested approval in December. It is at this time that I'll turn it back over to the board and answer any questions that they may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Mr. Barca? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we have the Engineering Department, Mr. King.
Good morning, members of our board. I want to begin with an update on our drinking water program. The lead service line removal continues throughout the city of Pittsburgh through our active small diameter water main replacement and our lead service line replacement projects. Through November 11th, 2022, contractors have completed an additional 178 lead service lines since October, for a grand total of 737 public and 729 private lead service lines across all of these active projects. The grand total of lead service lines completed between July 1st, 2016 and November 11th is a total of 9,745 public and 6,628 private side replacements. The current small diameter water main replacement program is currently 80% complete in their work. And as you recall, small diameter water main also involves the replacement of the lead service lines as we go. We have replaced more than 26,900 linear feet, or approximately 5.1 miles of water main throughout Pittsburgh. I'll focus now on water reliability plan updates. The final steps to return our Highland 2 reservoir and the Rising Main number 3 back to service are underway. The initial filling for disinfection of the Rising Main 3 had begun on Tuesday. Highland 2 was thereby filled, starting at the fill for the first 5% on Wednesday. 2 rounds of bacteriological samples were collected on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. The first set have been analyzed and are clear. The second set will have the results returned to us today to allow us to be able to submit our certificate of construction completion for Rising Main 3. The filling process for Highland Reservoir number 2 is in progress. We are continuing. We anticipate that the filling will be approximately 15 days. So we're looking at a projected date of completion around December 2nd. At that point, we'll take bacteriological samples for Highland 2 and thereby be able to verify that we can return the Highland 2 reservoir back to service as well. I should note that partial requests have already been submitted for those certificates of construction completion with the state to expedite and allow us to be able to receive those operating permits more quickly. So all of the testing results that related to the cover and liner, those have already been submitted to the state for their review. So it really comes down to these bacteriological results and my signature and stamping on the final application. So that is where we stand with regards to Rising Main 2 and 3. Notice to proceed has been authored and issued for the Rising Main number 4 rehabilitation and replacement project, similar to Rising Main 3. We anticipate that the construction field activities will begin early 2023 for that project. Construction of the Highland Reservoir Rising and Supply Main is underway and continuing at this time. Coordination continues with SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office, and the Museum Commission. With regards to the Asmal Pump Station improvements, staff has held a meeting with the historical consulting parties related to the designation of the Asmal Pump Station, as well as the Asmal Water Treatment Plant on the historic register, the National Historic Register. Both the EPA and the historic consulting parties have made that declaration that they believe this infrastructure merits and should be placed on the register. So that is in progress. PWSA has also been requested to contact the Heinz History Museum for their input with regards to this. So if you do hear about that, that's will be why we're reaching out to them. We're now in the process of scheduling a tour with all the consulting parties so they can better understand how the planned demo of certain facilities that we've discussed, the garage and the fluoride building, fits into the overall future of the water treatment plant to gain their acceptance of those two functions. And then with regards to our stormwater and green infrastructure programs, I wanted to thank our staff and everyone who participated in the volunteers field drainage and regrading project ribbon cutting event that was held yesterday in Carrick. That project is officially complete and a success. Construction of the Lon and Ophelia stormwater project has also in the South Oakland area is now substantially complete and moving to final opening for that facility as well. The PWSA team completed the 4-mile run community meeting on Monday, and we had communicated the current rescoping of the project to the communities. Many were in attendance here. So that concludes the Department of Engineering report. Do you have any questions for me?
Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, yeah, great work on getting those big bathtubs filled up again. It's a lot more complicated than it looks, for sure. I guess the MFP was offline for a bit. And if it's still offline, I'm just curious if there could possibly be any kinks with a startup after a prolonged offline period.
So we are currently offline, but it is currently running to drain a small nominal amount to ensure that all the membranes are still functioning and kept intact. So we do not anticipate any significant effort that will be necessary to reactivate it. It'll take close monitoring for the first couple of days with regards to the turbidity meters and the other results within the facility, but we think it shouldn't be an issue to restart.
Yeah, good. Was there any opportunity to get ahead on some maintenance while things are kind of dialed down?
There were a number of activities that operations had taken at this time. So,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. King? I'll echo Mike's comments. I think they'll certainly got a detailed preview earlier today about the Highland 2 Reservoir. It's an engineering marvel, quite frankly, and I want to congratulate staff, engineering staff, the operations staff, all staff, legal, financial, administrative, who have been pulled this project together, and it's quite fascinating. And let's hope that we get to the finish line and get the reservoir open for the general public. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
All right, next we have the Chief Environmental Compliance and Ethics Officer report, Mr. Sadari.
Right. Good morning, everyone. Two topics I wanted to just share and update you on this morning. First one, one of the primary goals of our environmental compliance and ethics program shared with you before. But goal number two is to detect any non-compliant activities at an early stage before they may impact water quality or any of our compliance with regulations. One of the ways that we achieve that goal is through periodic audits and assessments of our facilities to help us identify any potential gaps, ensure systems are in place, right, to maintain our environmental compliance programs moving forward, and also to help raise awareness on environmental compliance responsibilities among staff. This week, we concluded the field portion of the audit, our annual environmental compliance audit at the water treatment plant. The audit itself is required under our plea agreement, but it's performed by an independent environmental consultant. The auditor who came out reviewed various activities at the plant associated with our drinking water production, chemical management, waste management, our air requirements, spill prevention, wastewater, stormwaters. They touched on pretty much everything out at the plant, worked with our operations staff as well as our environmental compliance team in conducting that audit. We're going to work with the auditor to finalize the report, but yesterday we were able to receive a closeout meeting. And based on that, there's been no major compliance issues identified. So certainly a number of housekeeping items and things we can continue to improve upon. We've had other audits and assessments. So in 2022, a couple of them just to note for you is in July, DEP conducted a sanitary survey of our drinking water production and distribution system. In September, we had another environmental compliance and safety assessment of 11 of our facilities across the network. And that was to help with the expansion of our environmental compliance manual. And in December, coming up here, we still got one more this year. DEP is coming back to do a filter plant performance evaluation, an FPPE, to look specifically at the operation of our filtration plant itself. The findings from all these audits and assessments allow us to take corrective actions if need be, but also allow us to make any adjustments and to, again, help advance our drinking water, environmental compliance and ethics program. So we're able to use that feedback to continue to help us improve and grow. Second topic this morning is a reminder that I'm going to be sharing with PWSA staff regarding ethics considerations during the upcoming holidays. We welcome, of course, our ability of our staff to help to develop working relationships with our consultants and contractors and suppliers. All of them help support the authority in our projects. However, we also need to be mindful of our ethical responsibilities. Our code of ethics, so the PWSA code of ethics, requires us to act independently, impartially, and responsibly without conflict of interest and in the best interest of both the authority and our ratepayers. To that end, we do have our code of ethics, and it includes the standards of conduct as well as some prohibited activities. And among those prohibited activities are some limitations on the receipt of gifts and meals, which are come into play as we think about some of the holiday activities. So I'll be sharing that with PWSA staff just to have them be mindful of that moving forward here towards the end of the year. And that's all I have today. As always, though, I do like to remind you as well as our staff and our consultants that anybody can contact me if there are any concerns in regards to environmental compliance or ethics. So any questions this morning?
Thank you, Frank. Any questions or comments for Frank?
Thank you.
Congratulations on your successful audit of the plant and no significant findings. So
Yep.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it was very good. So
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Last but not least, our Chief Executive Officer report. God bless you.
Thank you, Chair Shuley, and good morning, members of the board, PWSA staff, our consultant partners, and members of the public who are tuning in. It has been not quite a month since we were together, but as was obvious from the reports that you heard, we've been busy, looking forward to closing out this year in a strong fashion, undoubtedly. I do want to call out, it has been a busy week, especially on some public outreach events that we've conducted. I want to give a shout out to our public affairs team on organizing and working internally to put on what is hopefully one of several future events focused on networking between our suppliers, our prime suppliers, and our more diverse suppliers. We held the event at the Coppers Building. Over 50 attendees. We had really good turnout from prime contractors as well as MBE firms that are interested in partnering with those primes. Barry King did a presentation on our forward-looking contract opportunities. So people were aware of the work that we have coming up. We really see this as a huge opportunity to involve more of our diverse suppliers as we invest over $1 billion in our water system in the next 5 years or so. So it was a great event. Hopefully a lot of connections were made. My hat's off to the team for pulling that off. I also want to thank Audrey Morel, our current, I'll call her chair of the Supplier Diversity Committee. She's now a committee member of one, who helped inform the planning for that event, as well as Lee Haller and Emily Pontarelli, who are focused on the Supplier Diversity Program. As Barry mentioned, we had a walkthrough and media availability for the Volunteers Field Stormwater Project in Carrick, which is in the South Hills District 4 Council District. It was chilly, but an excellent opportunity to see some stormwater improvements up close. And one of the unique parts of this project was kind of the co-benefit nature. We partnered with the city. They did work on the ball field, which wasn't necessarily tied to our regulatory responsibilities. We were able to pair those two projects with what we needed to do to manage stormwater. And the outcome was one that we're really excited for the community. It means that the Carrick Youth Athletic Association can use their ball fields in what were, it was actually the flooding and grading issues prevented them from using that throughout the ball season. So that was a very positive event. And also, as Barry mentioned, we did have a public meeting on Monday for the 4 Mile Run Stormwater Project and our shift in focus toward the neighborhood elements of the project. I want to thank all members of the public who participated in that discussion. I think it generally went well, and we're excited for advancing the first phase of that project next year. And then I'll just wrap up. Just Thanksgiving, believe it or not, is around the corner. I want to express my gratitude to our volunteer board. I also want to thank our staff who work diligently. We're getting to the time of year where our field operations employees and engineering staff, as they're out there trying to disinfect that Rising Main 3 and working on the reservoir in really cold, brutal conditions, making sure that we have that clean, reliable drinking water. I'm grateful for all the work that they do. Also grateful for our consultant and contractor partners that help us deliver these projects that we rely on. And just we'll wrap it up by thanking our customers. I know we're asking a lot more of them in terms of the rates that we're now charging, but please do be assured we're putting them to good use in delivering these critical projects that we've touched on in today's meeting. So with that, I'll wrap up my remarks and happy to answer any questions you as board may have.
Questions for Will? Well, Will, I'm going to say I know that the contracting forum was a work in progress for a long time before we're able to pull it off. And from every bit of feedback I've received on it, that it was very, very successful. So congratulations to you, to the procurement team, to Audrey for chairing the committee. And I think that it was a big success. We ought to think about doing this obviously on a regular basis and try to get our prime and our diversity suppliers as close as we can. And also I want to congratulate the public relations staff on the work on 4 Mile Run. I know that's hard to have an in-person meeting, a hybrid meeting, questions from both sides. And Tony Igwe and staff did a very nice job of presenting our change in direction, which I think is important, and hopefully we'll get the residents relief quicker now. Quicker is a relative term since we're talking about months for review and by the design team and DEP and others. But hats off to everybody who did a fantastic job on these things. Any other questions, comments?
I will, sorry, just I forgot to commend appropriately Anna Bennett, who's on the stormwater team. She's one of our project managers who led the walking tour of Volunteers Field, who was terrific. So I want to give her appropriate kudos.
Good job. Okay, well, let's move to resolutions. Resolution 128, Mr. Barca.
Resolution number 128, authorizing the financial assistance application in the amount of $500,000 to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, COVID-19 ARPA PA Small Water and Sewer Program.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 128, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution number 128 is approved. Resolution 129, Mr. BJ McFadden.
Good morning.
Morning.
Resolution number 129, approving the award of water and sewer inventory supplies to Bingham and Taylor Corporation, Core and Main LP, EJ USA Incorporated, Ferguson Waterworks, LB Water Services Incorporated, National Road, Utility Supply Incorporated, Pipelines Incorporated, and Trumbull Industries. This is out of the operating budget, and it's an amount not to exceed $10,130,218.67. Just to expand on this, this is for the emergency repair projects. The reason this is set up as a not to exceed, we do not know what's going to rupture or break throughout the year, so we have to get pricing on all of our different products or repair parts and all the sizes. So for instance, a 42-inch valve, we're not knowing if we're going to need that or not, but we bid it out to get pricing. This is actually budgeted at, $1,840,500.
Very good. May I have a motion? Is
Motion to approve.
there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
My question for you, BJ, is why the large gap between the budgeted amount and the not to exceed? And I get that it's unknowns. It just seems like a,
As I
Very
said,
large,
it's just basically the number of different materials and the sizes. So we have to put quantities in there. So if we put down 2 of these 42-inch valves, 2 48-inch valves, to whatever size, they add up pretty quickly and it comes out. So even if you put minimal quantities in to get the pricing, it just grew to that number.
that makes sense. Thanks.
Any other comments or questions for BJ? All in favor of resolution number 129, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution number 129 is approved. Resolution 130, Mr. King.
Resolution 130 is a request for the board's approval to award a professional services agreement for the design and engineering services for the 31st Ward Sewer Pump Station and appurtenances Phase 2 project to Gannett Fleming Incorporated in the amount of $1,667,339. This project focuses on the construction of a new consolidated pump station, replacing both the Rogers Street and Mifflin Road pump stations, and construction of a new gravity and sewer and a force main located in the Lincoln Place neighborhood. Both existing pump stations have exceeded their useful lives and are in need of replacement. Staff recommends that the board approve the award of this professional services agreement.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Well, I know this particular sewer pump station, Barry, is a long time coming. So happy to see this is moving forward. All those in favor of resolution number 130, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution number 130 is approved. Resolution 131, Barry.
Resolution 131 is a request for the board's approval to enter into a grant agreement to accept an award of $304,000 from the Alcoasand Grow Grant Program for the 2022 Small Diameter Sewer Rehabilitation Contract Number 2 Maytide Phase 3 project. This project focuses on the rehabilitation of sanitary sewers in the Carrick neighborhood. As you will likely recall, the board gave approval for the submission of the application for this project to Alcoasand via resolution number 71 during the April 22nd, 2022 meeting. Staff recommends the board approve entering into this grant agreement and to accept the GROW grant award.
Very good. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second,
Any discussion?
just a comment that it's nice to see money coming in.
Thank you to the Alcoasand and the Alcoasand Grow
That's right.
Program. Obviously, we've benefited significantly from the Grow Program. So thank you to the Alcoasand Program Authority for pushing these programs forward. All those in favor of resolution number 131, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution number 131 is approved. Final resolution of the day, number 132, Barry.
Resolution 132 is a request for multiple board approvals regarding the 2022 large diameter sewer rehabilitation project. Staff requests that the board, this project is related to a permanent easement that is required for PWSA to be able to install 2 drop shaft manholes to permit PWSA to complete a structural rehabilitation of a 60-inch circular brick sewer that is located 60 foot below the surface of the parking lot of the Center City Terminal owned by the Buncher Company, which does not currently have any accessible manholes within the segment to allow us to do the work. Staff recommends that the board approve the following 3 items. Approval to enter into a permanent easement agreement with the property owner, Buncher, of Center City Terminal. I won't list the parcels, for construction of infrastructure for the 2022 large diameter sewer rehabilitation project, as well as approval of compensation if it's deemed necessary for this permanent easement to the city owner of Center City Terminal. That is within the delegation authority range of the chief executive officer. And finally, authorize the chief executive officer to enter into the permanent easement agreements with the owner of the Center City Terminal on behalf of PWSA.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Sounds like a complicated project.
Yeah, exactly. 60 feet in brick. This goes back, way back.
Absolutely.
Or vacuum tubes.
Very good. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of resolution number 132, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution number 132 is approved. End of our agenda. We're a couple, I guess, less than a week away. Hard to believe it, from Thanksgiving. So on behalf of the board, want to wish everyone, all of our ratepayers, our consultants, our partners, our staff, board members, happy Thanksgiving holiday. Hope you enjoy it with your family and others. And it's hard to believe that we're already into November.
It is.
Where did the year go? I'll take a motion for adjournment. We have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.